Hello, my name is Julia Hüttner, and in this video I'm going to talk about CLIL, which is the abbreviation for Content and Language Integrated Learning. And very briefly, that's an approach to language teaching where content, which is non-language related content, so it might be history or geography, is taught through a foreign language for the students. So why would people like to use CLIL? Well, one of the reasons is that it's a way of expanding meaning-based instruction. So we make use of the content of non-language classes. So you've got geography or business studies, and you can use their concepts and topics and meanings, and in that way you really extend the objects of real communication. It's also in a way an extension of task-based language teaching and communicative language teaching. You've got one huge communicative task, which is learning the content of a different subject, and that can be used through the L2 to gain authentic communication. Another issue is that we've got the situation where there are learner groups who are often seen as people who are not interested in learning languages because they might not like what's typically taught in the foreign language classroom, and they might be more interested, for instance, in learning science through English. And politically, there's also been the reason to say Europe is multilingual, the European Union is multilingual, and language teaching approaches had to be diversified to increase the language competence of EU citizens. So to give you a slightly more precise definition of CLIL, which is difficult because it's an umbrella term for a variety of practices, I think the best one is the one suggested by Christiane Dalton-Puffer, and she says that CLIL is an educational approach where some curricular content is additionally taught through the medium of a foreign language, which is often also taught as a subject itself, typically to students participating in mainstream education at primary, secondary or tertiary level. So within this umbrella term, which covers quite a lot, we've got some similarities. And the first important similarity is that typically the L in CLIL for language is English. It's the most popular language used, it's the language that has most support. Another similarity is that the C for content tends to be primary. So if you look at the schedule of a school that uses CLIL, a CLIL history class will be scheduled as history, and it will be typically the history teacher teaching it, the assessment based on history. We've got quite a few differences as well, and those involve importantly the amount of instruction that is held in the target language, and that can range from very short periods, so maybe just repetitions at the beginning or at the end of a lesson, to maybe having a subject completely taught in the target language. We've also got variety in terms of who teaches CLIL. So rarely, but it does sometimes happen, we've got the English teacher teaching a CLIL subject because they feel confident enough to teach history or geography or maths. You might have two teachers, so you have the subject teacher accompanied by a language teacher working as a team, and most frequently you have a subject teacher who feels confident enough to teach their subject through the foreign language. Further difference as the level, so we've got CLIL from primary or nursery level up until tertiary level of instruction, and finally there are differences in terms of how voluntary the participation in CLIL is. But it's not that there are no arguments against CLIL. And some of them are that it seems to overemphasize the role of English. So it reduces, in a way, student learning the discipline-specific elements of their first language. Some content teachers also worry that they can teach less of their content subjects if they're using a foreign language. An important criticism, I think, is that possibly it's not suited for all learners. So learners might not be motivated to learn mathematics at all, and they might become less motivated in learning it through a foreign language. And also there seems to be some suggestion that you need to have a threshold of foreign language competence to benefit most of using CLIL.